can we start by going backwards a little bit? We haven't spoken to you since the window ended, so let's just see how you feel about what squad you've ended up with.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a big one, but it's a good one. We've got Casper, Tom, Finn, Ellie, George Longy, plus all the ones that had already signed before that, and then Leo Scienza joined us on the last day. So a good injection of quality, good people also, because we didn't want just anyone walking through the door. And we're at a big club. There's competition for places. There's a lot of quality and a lot of good players, which is what we wanted. And I think it should only help us, look upwards, look forwards, and be hyper competitive. Whether that's with the other teams or internally with ourselves. We have to be demanding when you're at a big club. That's the competition that is a part of it. And we also need to use that to get better individually, get better collectively, and use the full strength of that squad to hopefully win as many games as we can.
I think there could have been an argument that you might have wanted another striker. Some people might have thought. You've given Cameron a bit of a go so far in the last couple of games. Do you think the influx of talent you've brought in creatively will help your forwards that you have got, and then maybe they'll look better than people think they've been so far?
I hope so.
Yeah.
That was the point of it. No, I didn't want another striker. I think Damien's adapting to who we are, what we're trying to do, the league, the culture, the whole bigger picture. And we've got Cam, Roscoe, and Armour, who are proven and good players in this league. So there's a lot of players, a lot of good players, and hopefully the quality that we've brought in will help turn that positive XG into actual goals and not just faff stats. So
Damien seems to have struggled at times to get involved in games when he's come off the bench, particularly. Were we expecting too much after his electric start at Espanyol, for example? Are we putting too much pressure on him for a young player?
We're not, because I think we knew, and I knew how long it takes to adapt and how different the English culture is compared to everywhere else. And I think it's the same for the collective as well. It's not us. I said to the players this morning, it's not because we've brought in this quality that it's just we're going to be an unbelievable team and roll over people. It's we've got to put in a shift, and it's got to hurt, and it's only when it starts hurting that we know that we're going in the right direction. And it's it's got to mean something. We've got to make it work. We've got to make this almost a new team. I think there's sort of 11, 12 newcomers, 13, 14 players that have left the building. So it's like a big turnover in personnel, which was probably needed as well. But it's not, we're not just going to click our fingers and it be beautiful and magical and people stand up and go, oh, wow, that's impressive. No, we've actually, we've got to put a shift in. We've got to make things work, and we've got to work for that to work, if that makes sense. And I think that's the case for everyone, whether it's Damien, whether it's Leo coming in from Germany as well, or Casper. We need to give them the time to adapt, but we also know that we need to pick up points and win games.
How's the health of the squad after the internationals and so on?
It's all good. I think only Welly, who's still got his ankle problem, is not quite right for Sunday. Damien's still not back from the UN's men's national team. Hopefully he'll be back at some point tomorrow. So that leaves us not very long with him before the game. But no, apart from that, they've sort of been drip fed back into the trainings. They were mostly there today. So no, it's good.
Before we talk about the actual occasion of the derby, what do you make of what John Messino's done at Portsmouth to get them up, keep them up, and then go again this season?
I think he's done an incredibly good job, and I think he's a really interesting person. He's a really interesting manager, and he's got his team being hyper efficient and being very well structured and organised. And they'll come here and be, hyper aggressive, hyper, up for the occasion and the game itself. But away from the occasion, like you said, they're actually a good footballing side as well. So yeah, it'll be really interesting.
Do you warm up to the game the same way, or do you add a bit of extra in training, what you're saying to the players, the occasion, because of what it means to the fans and everything?
I think with the help of the club and the people at the club, we've set up various things so that the players understand what it means. We've got ex-players coming in. We've got people coming to sort of paint the picture of what this is, what it means to everyone, but also for the newcomers in the club and in the league. So I think we're putting the right things in the right place to make sure everyone gets it. And it means more, because it means more to the club, it means more to the supporters, but it's got to mean more to us as a team as well. We can't just accept conceding goals. We can't just accept that we draw games. That's not the standard that we want to work to. We want to stop conceding these sort of poor, rubbishy goals that we've conceded in the first couple of games. So yeah, it's a good moment to play a derby. It needs to mean something extra, and it needs to mean a bit more. We know that, and hopefully the players are all fully aware of where we're going and what this means this weekend.
What's the balance in the dressing room between the players being rabid and the players keeping their heads cool on the occasion?
Yeah, it's vital. I think there's no point charging into them and getting two players sent off within the first sort of 5-10 minutes. I think we're all fully aware of the discipline that we also need to have when we're being aggressive and when we're trying to do the things that we want to do. That's just part of it, isn't it? That's why we love this sort of game. That's why we want to play them. It builds you up to that, and whoever can deal with that best will probably win the game.
Finally, from me, are you happy to be favourites given you're at home?
I think being Southampton, you're a big football club, so you're probably favourites against a lot of teams in the league, and that's just where we're at as a club, where we're at as a team, and it's just the way it is, really.
For 10:30, Alfie. Just on that, I suppose is the challenge for your players more mental than it is technical? You've probably got better players, people would argue, than Portsmouth, but you need to deliver in what will be a high pressure situation.
I think it's a mixture of everything, really. I think we've got to turn up. We've got to be big boys. We've got to, actually, meet the physical and stress factor that's involved in the game. And we've not just got to meet it. We've got to, be better than whatever they're doing. But we've also got to get, the basics right as well. We've got to defend properly. We've got to move the ball and shift the ball properly and get in behind them and cause them enough problems. So I think it's a balance of managing the physicality, managing the occasion, but also doing things right and playing the right way. And tactics will at some point not be as important as that sort of emotional sort of energy that follows through, and we've just got to make sure that we strike a balance with all those different factors and get it right.
Have you had any conversations with the players at all about the fact that someone who maybe is struggling in their career or wants to do better than they have done for this club already, they can become a hero in almost one moment this weekend?
Yeah, but they can do that every week. I know it means more to supporters if they do it this weekend, but you can build up confidence in every game, and anyone who wants to be important, I've said it from the start, go do it. And I think the players understand that, players feel that, they can see it, so the message will be heard loud and clear.
A couple of words on just your experiences in the derbies that you managed in France. What was that like as a young manager, sort of coming to a different club?
Yeah, well, the results last year which annoyed me. Sorry, I shouldn't swear, but I did. Which was annoying because we got done on a penalty in the 93rd minute in the first one, and then we made a little mistake with the keeper and tried to dribble the striker, which didn't work either. But yeah, they're big. I know what they're like. I've done them in Belgium as well. I love them. Like football that is ultimate sort of best, and when you win it, it's like, even with Reims we beat 3. I think it was 4-0 or 4-1. Unbelievable. So no, I'm I can't wait. I think I'm like everyone. I think bring it on. We'll have a go. Yeah, love them.
Well, I think you're right. Like, obviously, there's a certain level of pressure on you and the players, and same for them. But everybody in this room is ultimately a football fan, whether it's Southampton or somebody else, and we should really just try and enjoy these games for what they are.
Yeah.
Players are up.
I think the players should enjoy it. Like if you're not up for this sort of game, and if you can't enjoy it, then go fishing or something, or go and do something else, because you're not doing the right thing. I think this is why we do it. This is why we're here, and this is what we want to do as well.
Can I have a few words on the new lads that come in and what you've seen of them in training? It looks like Leo maybe has only trained a couple of times, possibly from what we've seen on social media. But what have you made of those guys?
Yeah, Leo was delayed with visas and work permits, and the fact he was brought in on the last day of the window. So he's trained as from Tuesday with us. So he's been in a couple of days. Tom was in last week. Ellie was in last week. Finn was obviously off on international duty. Casper was in with us last week as well. They're good players. They bring something that we hadn't got. They bring a bit of creativity, a bit of fizz, bit of energy to the place, which is exciting. And we just need to get the balance right of what this looks like, what we want it to look like, sort of further down the line as well, and be consistent with what we're doing. But they're all very good players, and they're all good people as well, with their own attributes. But that's what you want to do. You want to bring in good players. You want to be a big squad and a good squad, and have the right competition that allows you to play for things, and that's hopefully what we've got.
I guess you're not going to pick one or name names, but I suppose looking outside, which of the four last you've got in is most exciting? The Tom Fellows, Finn Azaz, they're proven championship players, but also we don't know a lot about Leo, but he's obviously had a really interesting career playing in the Swedish 50, and now he's in the championship, and Casper Yander is a German youth international as well. You've got an interesting mix.
Yeah, I think that's what we wanted to do as well. I think we realised that getting players in that actually know the division, know the league and how it plays out and what it looks like was important. But also getting players in that have the stats that back that up. I think Finn and Tom have got that, and you add a bit of freshness, bit of sort of outside creativity and players who think outside the box and who are probably a bit naive going into their first games. But that's just part of it. And I think the mix of that, of the whole squad really, with players coming back in from loan, because I think Shay Charles coming back in is doing really well. So we've got a good mix of talent and experience and of know-how. Like I say, we just need to get that right. And again, it doesn't just click your fingers and we've got 4 new players in and they all play and they all score a hat trick. It doesn't work like that. So no, we've got a lot of work to do. Sort of almost a new team and a new squad to build, and finding the balance in that will be the key.
You've seen how well you can speak English and French. Do you also speak German?
Nah, my German's terrible, to be honest. My Spanish is even better than my German, so no.
Well, just on those 4 players who've come in, I don't think there can't have been many players who've made their Saints debut against Portsmouth, and some people might perceive that as a risk. Perhaps they're not as up to speed as some of the other players. Do you see it that way, or is this the game that they should be itching to play and make an impact straight away? I
think whatever game it is, I think any new player wants to play and wants to prove why we've brought them to the football club. Yeah, I just think they're all ready to go. You can see it, you can feel it, you can feel the sort of will to play without any play on words, and good people with good energy, and that's what we want. We don't want people feeling sorry for themselves because they're not in the squad, or feeling sorry because they're not in the team. If you're not there, there's a reason. So do a bit more and get in the team and get in the squad and work hard. You're at a big club, you've got big competition, and that's just the way it works. But yeah, I'm not going to say they're all going to start and all going to score 2 goals and all be spot on from the first day, because I don't think that will happen. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see until Sunday who fits, who works, and what it looks like. But yeah, it'll be exciting.
How does that process work when they've obviously not had the pre-season with you and they're having to catch up? Do they do extra sessions and extra bits of detail that perhaps other players aren't doing?
Well, you get extra videos in. You show them, you explain them, you go through the tactics board. I know it sounds a bit basic, but you've got to make it understandable and sort of readable for everyone, and everyone learns in a different way and picks stuff up in a different way. So you make sure you cover all bases, and then people say, we've had 2 weeks to prepare the derby. It's like, yeah, but we had also 9 players that were away with international duty, so you're always sort of working on little units or working on little bits, and you only really have 2 days to prepare that. So it's just a process that will be on in the next couple of weeks of fine-tuning it, making sure that we're getting them in the right space in the right areas that we want. And it's a marathon, not a sprint, so we've got to make sure we win the marathon, not the first initial sprint.
Obviously you mentioned Leo Sienza's journey there, but was his mentality something that pleased you? Because you have to have a strong mentality to drag yourself from the Swedish 5th division to get to the Bundesliga, another championship.
I think he's just hungry. I think he also made the choice to come to Southampton because there were other opportunities for him out there, and there were other offers. And you can see how hungry he is to play in English football and to sort of make the step up again to being competitive at this level. And he's there's a lot about him as a person, as a player, and we've just got to help him sort of settle in, understand what we're doing, how we're trying to do it, and what it looks like. Because again, the physicality is completely different to what he's known and what it looks like. So he's been pretty surprised in training, which is good. But yeah, no, I think they're all interesting people and interesting players. We just have to give them a bit of time and a bit of space.
Well, from me, we saw Samadozi and Joe Rebo back in training during the break. What's the situation with them? Are they back available for selection?
They're back in the squad. We all know what the transfer window's like. They had options, opportunities that didn't quite materialise and didn't quite happen. And I think from day one we said just as long as your head's right and you want to be here and you want to fight for the club and for the team itself, then be more than welcome and be a part of it. And I've got to say, since they've been back in training, they've been spot on. So it's a good thing.